Um, okay, so the first thing was to basically put an object in a collection so that you can rotate it around a central point. That's the basic idea. Um, so let me model something quick. It'll just be like a fake window or something. No. There we go. Let me do this too. So it's halfway interesting. Or whatever. Um, okay, so you take that collection and then you may mark it as an asset, and that will do the thing. Set browser, unassigned the thing. Drag it in. Selection at first. You kind of move it however far from the center. Right now, my center is where the 3D cursor is, which is at the center of the world. I think currently yours is in the center of your thing, and it should, that's where you want it. Um, if you don't have that center, you can make one. Like if your cursor's like way over there or something. Um, close this, won't need that anymore. So say we wanted it actually here in the center. Uh, you can, let's see, you can either zero it out over here in view, which is this stuff right here. That'll bring you back to the center of the world. And this is just making the making the orientation of the 3D cursor match the world. Um, if that's not what you wanted, like it's still over there, you can create a, let's see, empty or circle, and then an item for that thing, because it's going to go wherever the cursor's at, like the 3D cursor. If it was at the center, it would go there, most likely. It has its own location stuff here, and we can zero that out, and that'll put it at the world in the center. And then snap the cursor to selected. So this means the 3D cursor will go to the center of whatever object you have selected. So do that, it goes back to the beginning. If I had clicked this and said the same thing, cursor to selected, it'll go over there to that. So you can tell the cursor where to go through that way. We want it here though. And this object, we want it kind of 90 degrees this way. And I'm gonna apply that rotation just because, oh shoot, maybe I can't. Oh, I guess I won't. This is kind of like a guideline where I want it. Then you go to the object that you're trying to rotate around, which is, the instanced model. And up here in the second one, you go to 3D cursor and it puts it to the center point. So that you have to have that selected to let it know where you want to rotate around.
So under transform orientations, you set it to cursor.
This one.
That
Yeah.
3D cursor.
Yeah. Yeah. So wherever that 3D cursor is, that's where it's going to rotate around when we do the next step. So the next step would be, this is the 50 key button thing. So it's Shift D to basically duplicate the model, R to say you want to rotate it, and then you tell it which axis you're wanting to rotate around. We're wanting the Z axis because that's up and down, so that we can just spin this way.
Yeah.
So Z, and then it'll spin around the whole thing. Um, excuse me. So then we find whatever degree is the best. I think on yours you were doing like 20 or something like that, but it might be different. So then you say, cool, that's what I want. You can go in here, like open that up and select linked. Usually that's if you don't have the instance model thing, it'll basically treat it the same. Like it'll if you go back to that first model that you're rotating and change things, it'll go through all of them.
Oh,
So if you don't set up the collections, you can select the linked. And it'll do similar thing. I'll show an example of that in a second. Um, so I won't do that for now. But and then we hit enter, or and then you can hit Control Shift R. Where's it? Shift R. Watch, did it again. Second. So okay, so we want to start this over. So we want to duplicate it, rotate it, Z it. I'm just going to go to that. And I think it's Control R. Fudge. There it is. Shift R. Okay.
you don't do the last act, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
It's-
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of how it rotates around. But if you notice right now, it's not lined up. Um. I'm pretty sure, and I'll double check it. We can go back to the original model and kind of scale that to make it. No, no. See, it's not gonna. Um. You'll have to figure out how to like when you like basically however many you rotate it around is gonna fill that in or not.
that because you set it as an asset, and then you change the original asset, changes everything else.
Yeah, like this. See, changing that original one. Um, to fill that gap, it's gonna have to deal with, or it will deal with, like the duplication and rotation thing. Like however far you set it, will fill the gap in more or not. I think that's why people like to do the curve method, where they array it around a curve,
Yeah.
because you can tell it to kind of fill it in.
I've been using that where I can, but the walls I want to be straight.
Yeah,
Put it on that curved pencil.
yeah. Um, I mean, you could do it. Maybe you could do it this way, where like if you want to be very exact in placements of them, if you let's see if this works. If you start out with the cylinder and you before applying it, you count like how many do you actually need to fill the space. Like maybe it's 12. You can set this kind of as your guideline. Um, maybe it's 6 or 8. We'll go 8. Anyway, you'll look at your model and kind of determine that. You can use that as guideline basically. It's like, okay, this is not in the right spot for that, so I want it here, kind of thing. Get rid of these. That. And I may need to rotate that to make it fit this angle better. So what it is, took it off the 3D cursor, so I could just rotate the object, not at the thing, and then kind of line it up, and then switch it back. And let's see if this works better. So you can kind of do it like that. So that might be,
Yeah. That's probably
yeah.
I'm gonna do a drop shot now.
Okay.
And hopefully I